Alright, now today we're going to be making this wakeboard rack. Now, this you can really modify to fit a wakeboard, a snowboard, skis, or really whatever you can think of, skateboard. The possibilities are endless. So today I'm going to teach you how to make this, and hopefully you'll stick around for the build. Alright, now the first thing we need to do is I've marked 2 lines, and I'm going to rip this in half at the bandsaw. Now, it'd be better to do it at a table saw, but I don't have one right now, so I'm just going to use the bandsaw. Right now, after cleaning up the edges of these will later become our back pieces. Right now, what I've done here is I took the piece that I cut earlier and I traced out a line on here, and then I just marked where the end of this piece is, and I'm going to make a sort of boot style piece here that will hold the wakeboard. And I just use this cup here to trace out a circle or a little curve here, and then I just straightened this off on the back here. And I'm going to make this cut at the bandsaw, first using the fence and then taking this off. And I finished cutting out that shape, so I traced it onto this board again, and I'm going to cut that a second time, so I have 2 of them. Alright, so just so you can get a better idea of how all this is going to go together, what I did is I set my wakeboard up down here, and I set this on the bench, and as you can see, these were the 2 pieces of cherry you saw me cut last. I cut those to length, and I actually rough cut them to length, but that might be my final length. It looks pretty good where it is. And then I have these 2 little L pieces that we cut out earlier, and the first thing I cut out are these these 2 pieces here and here. And these are just going to be to give the little L pieces a little bit of extra support. Alright, now I glued this piece up. This is one of those L brackets, and I'm going to come back down here, and I also did it over here. I pre-drilled and I countersunk a hole. I did 2 of those along here just to give it some extra support. This is already glued, but I'm going to just put some screws in here, and hopefully this will give it a little bit extra strength. Alright, now I've glued these pieces up, and I'm just cleaning up this top edge here, and to do that I'm just using my plane. And the pieces should be looking like this. Alright, so what I've done with this piece here is I've chamfered the side again. I use the same method as before. I just use my plane to clean off these 2 edges just to make it look a little bit better. And now what I'm going to do is I've set up this rough stop block over here off camera, and this will come over here and butt up against that, and what I can do is cut these corners off. So that's what I'm going to do now. Now what I didn't show you is I glued these pieces up, and again I left that little edge there, that little hangover, so you don't see some of this end grain, which should look a little bit better. So far I have let these dry for a while now, maybe about an hour, a little more than an hour, so I think it's probably good to take the clamps off, and I put a motor over here to just add some weight because this was popping up. But that looks pretty strong. I think I'm going to scrape the glue off here, and I don't really trust this. It is a long grain to long grain connection, but there's not much here. So what I think I'm going to do is drill either 1 or 2 holes in the top and insert some oak dowel, and then I'll glue that in, and hopefully that will give it a little bit extra strength. Alright, so I drilled out 2 holes, 1 on each piece. I think that's all that's really going to be necessary. I think 2 would be, I think the quarters in here would be a little too close, so I just decided to go with 1, and it's still going to give it enough strength. So what I'm going to do now is just put a little glue on my finger, and I'm going to rub it all around the dowel. Now it doesn't need to be too thick on here, just so that you have a little bit on there. And then I'm going to go ahead, push this in, and then I'm going to find a small little light duty hammer. Just tap it to make sure it's seated in there. And it doesn't have to be, that's not too important. Just give it a couple good blows. And again, we're going to be cutting this off, so it doesn't matter if you use a hammer or a mallet or anything like that. So I got the dowels in and dry. I cut them and sanded them. There are a few gaps, so I might go back and fill those in. But for now, it's alright, so I might do that later. Next thing, we need to drill some holes for some screws, and what I'm going to do here is drill some small holes, and then drill some bigger 3/8 inch holes, so that the head of the screw will sit below, and then I can also go over and put some dowel on top, so that you don't see the head of the screw. Alright, so I got these pretty much all finished. I got the holes in them. I already mounted them on the wall, just to see how they would work. And now that I know they're going to work out, I'm going to finish them. And so, again, I drilled these holes. I drilled a small hole, and then I drilled a larger 3/8 inch hole. And later, I'm going to put some dowel in there. But right now, I'm just going to finish these. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so the finish is applied and it's all dry now. I mounted this on the wall, as you can tell, and I put the wakeboard in it, and it's looking really good. You can't really tell with the lighting in here, but it came out really nice. I did sand the finish before I applied the final coat. That seemed to work pretty good. And everything looks really nice. So I'm pretty happy with how this came out. The only thing I would change in the future would be to add a little bit more wood down here. This doesn't seem to be super sturdy. It seems to be sturdy enough, but I would like to add a little bit more there if I were to ever do this again. But overall, this came out really well. So I hope you go ahead and make this project if you think that this is going to work for you. For me, it worked out really well, and I might make a similar design to these for my skis. So that could be a future project. So again, just please like this video, subscribe. I would really appreciate it.